Everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a Google form for assessment. So we're just going to create a form in this video, and then in the next video I'll show you how you will gather those results and sort them. Okay, so first of all, let's start at the very beginning. So to get to a new Google form, you can either go to your Drive, click on New, More, and Google Forms, or you can type forms.google.com into your browser bar and get to the forms page. So this is where any form that you've created will be. And then you also have some options for starting with the template. So if you want your background to look really nice for your form, you can choose one of these. I'm just going to stick with something basic today. So I'm going to choose a blank form. Now you can start with a blank quiz and it will automatically go into that assessment form, or you can always change any form that you make into a quiz. And I want to show you how to do that. So let's start with this blank form. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give it a title. And that will transfer down here. You can add a description if you want to give some instructions or something else right here. So let's take just a really quick tour of our screen. Up here at the top, this puzzle piece is for add-ons. We'll talk about that later as we get into some more advanced functions. You can customize your theme. You can add background, add a header at the top. You can click the eyeball to preview your form. And so we'll do this at the very end. And you'd always want to do this before you send your form out to anyone to fill out. The settings wheel. Let's go ahead and click here because this is where we're going to make our form a quiz. So first of all, I can just change some of my general settings. I do want to collect email addresses, even though I'm going to ask students what their first and last name is. This just kind of keeps everybody honest to make sure that the form that's being submitted is from the student who says they are submitting it. They can get a response receipt. You can limit to one response. You can allow students to edit after they submit their quiz, and they could see summary charts. I'm not going to click any of those today. Presentation. If you're creating a longer assessment with a Google form, you might want students to be able to see a progress bar. Or you could shuffle your question order. If you want every student to have their questions in a different order, you would check that box. Okay, so this is where we're going to make this form a quiz. I'm going to unlock right here for make this a quiz. And then I'm going to go down here that also unlocks some other settings. So I can decide if I want students to be able to see their grade, the score they made immediately after they submit, or if I want them to get their score later. I'm going to keep it on immediately just because I want to be able to show you that function. And then just some other options here that you can decide if you want to check or uncheck. So I'm going to click Save for those settings. Over here at the side, actually let's go back up here to the top. So we've got the send option, and we'll use that when we're finished with the form and ready to send it out. And our three dots also give us, this is if I make a mistake and I need to undo something I've done, I can undo it. If I'm just ready to start over, I can move this to trash and start fresh. Also, if I'm working as a team and we're creating an assessment together, this is where you can add other team members so you can work on the form together. Let me go ahead and click on that so you can see. Looks just like it would if you were sharing a Google Doc with one of your colleagues. Okay. Plus, we'll add a question to my form. I can also import questions, add another title and description. If I have another section to my form, I can add another title. I can add images, I can add video, and then I can also add multiple sections. So if you have a lot of questions in a form, you might want to create different sections for all of those questions. Back to the video option, a form can also be really nice for an assignment in itself. So you could import a video into a form and then have questions down below and to ask students what they've learned from the video. So lots of creative things that you can do with forms. Okay, so let's start fresh. I'm going to click my plus for a new question. And we're just going to quickly create a really simple form. I'm going to try to give you a variety of questions so that you can see what your options are. So the first thing I want to do is start by asking my students their first name and their last name. And it's really important that you do this separately because the results are going to go to a spreadsheet. And if you want to be able to sort your students by class and alphabetically by their last name, then you need to have their last name in its own column. So first I'm going to ask their first name. Google Forms knows that I want it to be a short answer. This is a required question. And down here, because I made this a quiz, I have an option for an answer key. Now, there's obviously not going to be a correct or incorrect answer for a student's name, so I'm not going to put anything here and I'm not going to add any points, but we will do that once we get to some other questions down below. So let me add another question. What is your last name? Again, I'm making it required. And a way to know if you have required your questions is if you see this little star right here. If I've required it, then a star will show up. If I haven't, there will not be a star. Next question. Again, this is an important piece to add to your forms for your students for the sake of organizing your responses. So this way, once we get our responses, I can organize by class period, and then I can also organize by student last name. So let me give my options here. This is required. Okay, so now I'm ready to ask some more questions. What is the FWCD mascot? Is it a falcon, a camel, or a hornet? This is a required question. Okay, so now I'm ready to start making my answer key. So the correct answer is falcon, and I want this question to be worth 5 points. Okay, next question. Okay, so actually this is going to be a short answer, and I want to show you that this does get a little bit tricky. This is required. And for our answer key, if you do have your students answer with a short answer, you can give a few options here. So one student might answer with Eric Lombardi. One student might type Mr. Lombardi. Another student might forget their caps. Okay, and on and on. So you can see where this is functional, but also does make it a little bit difficult if you're having forms grade for you. So then I would mark all other answers incorrect. Worth 5 points. Okay, and I'm going to add one more question. Okay, so in this case, we're having students write a paragraph. So obviously, they won't have an exactly correct answer for this. So for our answer key, I'm going to make this worth 10 points. And then I'm going to let students know that they will receive their grade and feedback from me at a later time. Okay, so I've finished making my quiz. So I want to take a look and see what it will look like from the student's perspective. So all my questions are required. Don't see any changes that I want to make. So now I'm ready to send this to students. So I'm going to go up here to send. So I can send it to them by email. So I could go into the portal, copy all of my students' email addresses, paste them here, and send it this way. My favorite way to send a form is just by getting the link. You can shorten the URL. And then you can post this on the portal. You can send it out through email, post it in Google Classroom, and on and on. Okay, so I'm copying that URL so that in just a minute I can go in and take this quiz and show you those results. So I'm going to stop this video for now, and then we will move on to the next.